present. Non-committee board members, I've got Kathy Duchin, Dave Rutenberger, Dan Sigmund, and Kira. Did I miss anything? Which of you want to be compensated?
Please do.
Okay. Two. Listen, there should be one more. There, okay. Okay.
Mark it on.
Oh, I got to mark it on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm going to send her on a sign-in sheet for everybody. Good sign in, please.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to start out by saying I screwed up on the agenda. What happened is the agenda started out being specifically for discussion of negotiations. And discussion of negotiations, there is no public comment because it's done in closed session. And then we changed the meeting date because a number of members for our next meeting weren't going to be there, so we added things on today. Unfortunately, public comment wasn't added on. Now, that's my fault, because I'm in charge of the agenda. So even though, it's not mandatory for statutes to have public comments, I will allow public comments on the agenda items when it comes up for discussion. So that item under discussion. The individual comment will be short, okay? A minute or two, and stay on topic, so no off-agenda discussion, and only one comment will be allowed for item discussion. Everybody's good with that? Okay. Review, discuss, consider, leave, a sick leave policy.
Okay, in your packet, there was the current sick leave policy, and one thing that has come up in the PTO educational sessions is whether or not the conversion of 2 days of sick time to personal days will continue into next year. The committee approved this back in 2000 and for this year 2020. So that's the need for the discussion today. 2020 and 2021.
2021.
Did I say 2000? Sorry.
Yeah.
Not enough coffee.
Since I don't have the history, I wanted to confirm.
Does anybody have any discussion on this? Well, I mean,
Okay, so if the intent of the PTO plan is to get all of our employees into the PTO plan, why would we continue to monitor, maintain, and tweak and modify the old plan? It just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, we have a PTO plan, and we should just move forward with that and freeze the old plan. Some people want to stay on the old plan, so be it. But freeze it, stop making changes to it. We shouldn't be modifying 2 different plans, have 2 different policies. Every time we put something in place, like, do we need to go back and try to figure out what the old plan is? I just don't understand why we would do that. I don't understand why, you know, I mean, if Sarah's in charge of HR and she believes that this is something that's necessary and that other companies do the same thing, that makes sense. But, you know, here we have a plan that we're trying to replace. Well, why do we keep modifying the old plan? Let's just move forward with the new one. And if the new plan has most of these abilities in there, I mean, you have sick time. You can take it off whenever you want. So if somebody needs that feature, then they can just migrate to the new plan. And I would have similar comments with the second part of the agenda. So that's just my comment. I don't understand why we're trying to tweak an obsolete plan.
anyone else?
I had hoped to hear your discussion before I commented.
Okay. Well, when we first put this in, this was basically a reaction to the COVID. And it was never intended to be a long-term thing. It was only a response to COVID. So it was never the idea that this was going to extend, whether we have PTO or not PTO, it was never meant to be a forever kind of deal. It was just for a short-term thing. And I think And Supervisor Goodman is right, it is, it would be a thing you could do with PTO, but whether we have PTO or not, I would still not progress forward with it. Any other comments? Please.
So we're not tweaking it, we're really putting it back to what it was and leaving it
That's correct.
Correct.
by saying we're not extending it beyond 1.
Correct.
That was an exception.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second.
So what was the motion?
To eliminate, not extend this. Past 2021. Any further discussions on that motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Okay, the next, agenda item deals with, donations of sick time beyond 2021. We do not have a policy on this. As you are aware, employees, can make a request to this committee at any time. And this committee has approved those based on a non-precedent setting basis. And so, this is just up for discussion if the committee wants to continue to allow that into the future, or if we're moving to PTO, if donations of sick time, are not gonna happen anymore. And again, there's no policy on it, it's just, it comes to the HR committee for their approval, and on an as-needed basis.
Public. Let me do Kathy first.
That's fine.
This is just a suggestion. You could have the employees at the beginning of each year decide if they want to donate to the sick bank or not. You create a bank. So if I have 10 sick days, I say, I'm going to give up 1 sick day and put it in the bank. I lose it. But when I need some sick days because I was diagnosed with something and I'm going to be out for a while, I come to you and I say, I'd like to draw out of the sick bank. You now have a bank of days and you can say, yes, we have the days. If you're not willing to give up a day, then you can't come to you and say, you know. And every year you choose whether you want to be part of this bank or not. That's how we did it in the school system, and it worked quite well. And then there were some rules of, you know, how you could use a sick bank, which you could make up as you go. Well, I knew before you started. But that's how it worked. And you decided, I want, rather than, oh, I now need them, then will somebody please give me some? You say, I want to be part of this, or I don't. Because some people might have some kind of disability insurance on their own, you know, Aflac type thing. So, just an idea.
Oh, thank you. So, as far as I remember with the PTO plan, first off, we don't have sick days within the plan, correct? So I don't know how we could, in the PTO plan, now redefine something, call it sick days, or make donations of sick days. So I assume we're not talking about the PTO plan, we're talking,
That's correct.
again, modifying the old plan.
No, this is to allow continued requests for sick donations to continue beyond
From who? Those that are in the old plan?
those that are in the old plan. In the PTO plan, it defines that any hours in the PTO plan, in the extended leave bank, and the emergency sick leave bank are not transferable to other employees. So
Right,
they are not
non-transferable.
allowed,
Okay.
yep, they're not allowed
So-
to donate.
So again, we're gonna modify the old plan, and that would limit how many people would be participating, obviously, just those that would be still participating in the old plan. Correct?
It's not modifying it, it's continuing it.
All right, well, let me answer this. Are we gonna be donating sick time from a PTO employee to a non-PTO employee? No, so just those within the old plan would be doing this. Is there a sunset clause already in there that they can't?
No,
Oh. So is there a policy in there, is there writing in there that they can donate?
there is no policy regarding donations of sick time. The sick time donations come from the employees to this committee. This committee approves them on a non-precedent setting basis.
Yeah, I don't understand why, you know, we're gonna try to modify old plans and try to keep people in them plans and stuff. The encouragement should be to get all these people to move into the PTO plan. This just creates more administrative paperwork, in my opinion. It should be ended, the practice should be ended.
And that's what we're asking.
Yep.
Do we want to continue this or not?
Well, what's your recommendation as an HR?
I would
Person.
say we would not continue donations. That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
But it's completely up to them because they're the ones that are.
Well, you're the
approving.
professional here, and we want your advice as we make decisions, so
I
your
understand that.
advice, okay, so, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, discussion.
My thoughts on it are nutrition, that will go away. And if people do not go into the PTO plan, I think they should be able to continue it.
You know, this was a unique one-on-one thing that we did. It was never in our, we never had any documentation to say this. We just kind of did it. So with the PTO, would that allow people then from the existing plan to donate to somebody to PTO if they bring it out? You're creating a real headache, I think, as far as this goes. You know,
I feel it should not be allowed anymore going forward. Most of the time it happened when you had a new employee who something came up and they simply hadn't accumulated enough. Whereas with PTO, you will accrue from day one going forward, so they always have something accumulating to pull off of. Again, it's usually the newer employees who were asking for it when something came up. So I would say no, as far as keeping it going.
I agree with Karen. I mean, most of the cases that came up here, new employees, that since we're going to be able for those, that it's just becomes irrelevant.
okay, so want to make a motion?
I'll move to, we do away with the policy, not the policy, but
Great.
the practice.
Karen, second it. Okay, discussion on that.
I just feel that anything we can do to help our employees, we should be doing it. And to me, it's not gonna hurt us one bit by continuing it. Through attrition, when new employees come on, they'll be in a PTO. This will only be hurting people that have already been here for a while. It's not gonna bother us one bit for new employees, so I'm in favor of continuing it.
The senior employees, though, they can, in cases of emergency, can draw out of their, they have over 920 hours to draw out of that. And that would be, I mean, it's not like they're out in the rain. They're still covered.
Jim?
Just one point of clarification with the motion, is it the intent to sunset that availability at the end of 2021, or is it immediate? I think, just for clarification, because that question may be posed by individuals under the current.
2021.
So done December 31, 2021.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
That motion passes. Okay, review, discuss, consider revisions to holiday policy.
So the holiday policy, the main reason for the revision is just to include PTO time, as the policy will continue. The only area that it really affects is to be eligible for holiday pay, an employee must work the scheduled day before and after a holiday. An employee who does not work the day before or after a holiday due to an unscheduled absence, we gave an example, uses the department's call-in procedure, will lose the holiday unless the unscheduled day is a verified illness in which the employee must provide a doctor's slip. Employees who are using pre-approved paid time off, example vacation, PTO, comp time, will be eligible for the holiday. An employee must use his or her own paid time for the full scheduled hours the day before and after the holiday in order to be paid for the holiday. So it's more just we're clarifying that this now encompasses PTO as well.
Any comments? Ready?
If they miss one day, do they lose the whole holiday, or do they lose half the holiday pay if they're there the second day? Yeah.
They lose the whole, they have, the requirement is the day before and after to get the holiday.
That's the way I know how I read it, but I just want a clarification.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, it's so you don't end up with like a 4-day leave, so you call it sick before, have the holiday, call it sick afterward, and suddenly you have the.
I've seen it in the private sector, if you missed the day before and you were there the day after, you did receive half the holiday pay. That's why I asked the question.
I think that would be in, if you have the holiday, like Christmas, that there's 2 or 3 days off. You're talking about a year. And on a single day, no.
Committee discussions? Someone want to make a motion?
Make the motion to approve, being there the day before and the day after holiday to be eligible for holiday pay.
So as written.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second discussion.
This is just to clarify past practice?
Yes,
Or not?
there's, nothing, the only thing that's really new in here is just that we added PTO.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who seconded that? Dennis?
All opposed, same sign. The motion passes. This is just an update regarding the COVID ARPA prepaid pay funding recommendations to finance committee. We have that in our docket, so there's no action is required on that. Does anyone have any questions on it?
So it's basically what we asked for, the final numbers, last
Right.
time.